Hey ladies and gentle boys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you. Right, so we've done the introduction for Orca. There seems to be a lot of kind of hoo-ha already about the fact that I was thinking about, or pretty much am going to, disable one of the 7970s. As I explained, I want to put two in there, but I don't need to. The second one would just be sat there doing nothing. Vegas hardly touches the graphics card for GPU acceleration anyway. Vegas hardly touches the system, to be perfectly fair with you. But I do want two in it. It does look better. Personally, just my thoughts. A lot of other people have been going on about the fact that I've not gone with a 680 or a 660 or a 670. I thought I'd kind of explain that Vegas seems to be really funny with CUDA at the moment. It keeps chucking up errors. I'm on the latest version of Vegas. I've tried the latest version of drivers with NVIDIA. I keep trying it on the test rig and always seem to get a flash up at the end. Sometimes the render does finish, but you do get, more often than not, an NVIDIA driver error, or at least with the setup that I'm using. And like I said, considering that the Vegas isn't even really touching the CPU or the GPU to its maximum extent anyway, there's really no difference. And the fact that I've already got the 7970s here with water blocks is kind of one of the reasons why I decided to go that way. But I mentioned before, I've obviously been doing work with the Trooper previously. I did the 360 mod in the roof. I did the handle mod as well. And by the handle mod, what I mean is in case you haven't already seen it, I'll put it up against my t-shirt. You can see that the cutout around the handle is massive. And that's because I opened it all right up so there was more airflow at the front there. That was just kind of a stage one to see, how it would go, what it would look like, whether it was easily done, whether I could get the kind of finish that I was after. And I was quite happy with that. So that was all already me working on Orca, trying to build up to it. Today what I've got to show you is I've got the Alpha Cool, get the name right, it's the XT45 in the front, and then I've got the Monster, which is the 80mm thick. Sorry, I've got the XT45 in the roof, then I've got the Monster in the front. I've also got a dummy version, or like half a version, of the Bits Power D5 pump and res thing in there, put the motherboard in there, got a graphics card in there, just so that I can get my eyeballs round where everything's going to go. It also does help me kind of try and work out hosing as well, because these are all things that you should give yourself a chance to have a look with. With this now, I've got a better idea that I may need to switch a few things about. I may go against the grain of what I always used to do with the hose and things like that. But what I'll do is I'll bring you in for a look, and then you can see, because it is really tight in there. That's what she said. But we can have a look. I'll bring you in now anyway. And I think I may even have to go and make myself a cup of coffee. Right then, peeps. So, slightly different camera angle, but the first thing I wanted to show you is we've got the, I know it's a bit dark, but it's the best I can do with the light for this moment in time. We've got the 45mm thick radiator in the roof. Now, at the present moment in time, the barbs are at the back of the case. But what I wanted to do is just get this in for a like a basic look for sizing. And as you can see along the top here, the fans are just covering the RAM slots. You can still get in there and use them, but it's tremendously tight. It's also going to be, because you can't see at all, the 8-pin power cable. Now that is going to be my biggest, and I do mean my biggest problem, is trying to get that fitted and in. So that is going to be a mission and a half. It's going to be incredibly tight, but I'm hoping that I can get away with it, so I can use the 45 rather than the 30mm thick rad. Also, what I'm kind of thinking at this present moment in time as well, as you'll see when we kind of zoom back a little bit, is that I may end up, you can see the 80mm thick rad in the front. We've obviously got the barbs at the top. We put the barbs at the top because then that will make it a shitload easier for bleeding, because the air will want to go to the top anyway, so it will help. If we'd had the barbs the other way round, then the air would just sit at the top of the chamber, and then that's when you have to start moving it around loads. But I still don't know 100% yet whether or not I'm going to have the barbs at this end or the barbs at this end on the top of the radiator. For the hose coming into this, which at this present moment in time, if I pull this out, this will be like the input of the hose, and it will go through the CPU, come down through the GPUs. This will be the input. So I'd need to get some feed down from here and then out. Now, if we do that, that makes this hose really, really tidy, but it also means that we need to get a feed from the second radiator over here, so it could make that really messy. Now, I've got a couple of options with trying to put hose around the back, but it's probably just going to be so much easier for me to spin the radiator around and have the barbs at this end for a change. If I do that, then what I'll have to do is this section here, with this fixed bit, I'll have to move that across, and then we'll have a bit of hose coming out from it this side and going over to the last radiator, and then it will all go round again as before, down the bottom into one rad, and basically the two radiators will join together up in this corner. So it could work out a little bit tidier that way. Return is going to go from the last graphics card down and round, and then go straight into the bottom. Oh, you can't see. If I could bring you out a little bit more, bring you down, there we go. Right, so I said about the GPUs and everything up on this side, but sorry, all the hosing could be done this end if I wanted it to, but basically GPUs here, I could have it coming out of the last GPU and then coming down into a loop and going into the bottom of the reservoir, which is just here. Reservoir does its thing, pump comes out, and the pump can come out of the back and then come up and hopefully go into the first side of the big monster radiator at the front. Now, I've put this in just for size. I have got room to be able to get two sets of fans on this rad. The only thing I may need to do is get some spacers to be able to step off the barb or the fitting, whatever I use to go past the fan on the first side on this side. But that's all. It's really not too much of an issue at the moment. So I may need to get a few spaces, especially for this one. This is going to be the main one. I have to change this around a little bit, but other than that, looking in there, there's more than enough room for everything that I want. I was worried about the graphics, the graphics and the motherboard really for the pump, because that's the way the pump looks. I'll show you that. You can see the feet. Looks a bit like one of them things from Star Wars, kind of like walking along. But we've got that in there, and obviously the D5 will go on the bottom, and we've got a decent sized reservoir then, so that can go in there like that. I don't think a bay reservoir or a normal tube would have worked. Having the pump and the reservoir linked together, it means it saves on hosing and keeps everything that little bit tidier. Hopefully, if I can get the feed out the back of the pump to go up to the top of the reservoir, from the back of the pump to go up to the top of the first rad, then that will keep things kind of enclosed, because what we need to remember is all of this is going to be covered up. It'll have a plain sheet in there that I'm going to fit. I'm going to cut all the other tabs off. I'm going to put some white carbon fibre over the aluminium sheet that I've got. I've actually got the metal here already. So that will cover all that up, so you won't even really see the massive radiator in the front. Other than that, really, it's pretty self-explanatory. There's a lot of stuff that I need to do with the Trooper, like I still need to do the roof mod. I need to trim all the sides down. I need to take the floor off, and by the floor off, I mean I need to take the entire bottom section of the case off altogether. That's so I can put the new false floor in. I then need to drill the false floor, rivet everything back together, but obviously I need to trim the carbon. So we've got a fair old amount to do on the case. I'll need to do the roof first, do all the cutting first, get everything tidied up before I start buggering about with the floor, because I don't want to mark the floor too much. What I also need to do is get the floor marked for the drilling points on these, so that when it does go in, it all kind of lines up. What I'm also going to need to do is put a hole in the floor, because because the Vario's got an adjuster on the bottom, and I'd still like to be able to at least have access to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a hole in the floor. Now it will be a pain to get to, because obviously I'll have to tip the case over to be able to turn the pump down. But better to be able to, it'd be a little bit difficult to turn the pump down than rather not do it at all. And I've just realised I've scratched the bloody reservoir already. So I'm going to have to polish that. So there's a fair bit of work to do in the bottom of the case. But otherwise, really, it's not too bad. I think most of the time consuming stuff is going to be if I paint the graphics card and the CPU and the motherboard water blocks. I really need to get my kind of like thinking gear on with this and decide whether I'm 100% going to do it or not. Mainly, it'll work really, really well on the graphics cards because of the black line on the GPU. So that will work really, really well, because then you'll have white, black, white. But over on the CPU side of things, and over with the MOSFETs, where there's going to be there's not enough black there to balance it off, I'm worried with the white fittings that it might be a little bit too much. So it's this kind of area here that's stopping me not want to do it. But yeah, I really, really don't know yet. I need to kind of, I may even change these 90-degree fittings over the next couple of days to the white ones, just to have a kind of demo run with my eyes, just so I can see how it looks. I also need to decide a better way to mount the water blocks. I don't like the way these fittings go, and I'm pretty sure they don't screw in from the back. No, they don't. They screw straight into the base plate. So yeah, there's that as well. Because I'm not happy with these tops. Normally, what I would do is just use bolts and bolt them straight through. So I may even drill out the back plate and just put M3 or M4 bolts through. I'm yet to decide on that either. That's a pretty big thing, drilling the motherboard out. But yes, we will have to see. This was really, I wanted to give you an idea on the kind of stages that I'm going through with my head. I'm really, really lucky to have had the Trooper, that I can do these demo runs or dummy runs, whatever you want to call them, because it stops me having to batter up the Stormtrooper. So it does mean that I can get things in here, have a good bash around. But I think now I'm pretty much ready to start attacking the Trooper. I'm happy with the hardware and stuff that we've got at the moment. I do need to try and work out how 100% how I'm going to mount the solid state drives with the back panel. Also, when I do the Trooper, a lot of the front panel stuff I'm probably going to end up like a lot of the front panel cables I'm probably going to end up just cutting out and just getting rid of, so I've not got so many cables on the inside, because I obviously want to keep cabling down to an absolute minimum as well, which is why I've gone for 100% modular power supply. The only problem is going to be wiring the solid state drives up, because the tidy way to do it is with 2 SATA cables, which means more cables hidden around the back. But really, other than that, I think what I personally need to do now is start working on the Trooper itself. So I'm going to need to get the roof done. I need to get the roof done. I need to start cutting out all the drive bay holders so that I can get my false plates in. So it may be time for us to start ripping that to bits and start doing some basic demo runs in the white case. Oh, and by the way, for everyone that was saying to me, trying to help me with a word that I was looking for before, a tribute case is probably, or the word tribute was probably the word that I was looking for. Tribute to my mum, kind of like memorial kind of thing, that kind of idea. But yes, I also need to start thinking about ordering some really small M3 button head bolts for the motherboard. I'm also thinking about changing the screws in the graphics cards, although I have got some the back plates that I need to kind of work out what I'm going to do with them. Ding ding ding, that'll be the phone. So yes, there is a fair amount of work still to do. I'm trying to do this in dribs and drabs. You're probably not going to get another Orca video now, at least till next weekend, because I obviously need to get on with some normal kind of website work for the rest of the week. But I just wanted to let you have a little bit of an update. But for now, it's time for me to go and get my gym gear ready. I'm off ski. This is Tiny Tom Logan with another video for you. Out.